goes. Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Ete with another episode of Eco Law and Science, and today I got a special guest with me. I don't do a ton of interviews here on the show, so kind of a fun treat for you guys. And let's just have fun with it. So I was talking with Cecil, who does all of our editing and writes all our descriptions. She's my sister, and we were talking about some ideas for some new content for some new shows, and she suggested, hey, let's bring in some of the team that we work with, the guys and girls that are out there doing stuff, and let's interview them. Let's talk a little bit about what they're seeing, and I don't know, it's just some random things. And so that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to have some fun. So today with me is Hunter Dawsing.
Hello.
Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, you said exactly right.
Okay, I don't think I've actually ever said it out loud, so I want to make sure I say that right.
No, you're good.
So Hunter's here with me, and we were actually just up in Park City, there in the preserve area, and we were looking at noxious weeds. We've got a couple big bids coming up that we're working on. We're trying to build a new formula for this. Noxious weeds are a problem here in Utah. I've talked about it on the show a bunch. There's 25 plus of them, and these weeds you can get cited for if you have them on your lot in infestation. The government can actually come in and they'll force you to spray them. If you don't take care of it, they'll put a lien on your house. I mean, it's real serious, and that sounds crazy, but I've learned over the years why these things are so invasive. They take over, they ruin our trails. So, there's a war on these weeds. So anyway, Hunter and I were just up there looking at some new HOAs they're building around Park City. They want some bids, and we're trying to wrap our heads around. So I wanted to ask Hunter a little bit about, he's out there every day. So he's a trained and licensed applicator, and he specializes in noxious weeds.
Yep, that's exactly what I do, actually.
Yeah, so he does these every day.
Yeah.
Do you see noxious weeds when you close your eyes and go to sleep?
Sometimes I dream about them. Sometimes they come up and haunt me in the middle of the night.
So those are nightmares.
Yeah.
Okay, not dream. Yeah, because that's a true thing. I know. I do too. I'll see these. It's crazy. Can you spot them when you're driving by like fields and stuff?
Yeah. So most of the time when I'm driving down the canyon, I'll see them all the time. You can picture after you've done it for a little while, you can see them from a couple yards away, even if you're driving, but I'm sure you have the similar experience.
It's like a curse and a blessing. It's a blessing because you get good at what you're doing and identifying, but it's a curse because you can't, sometimes I can't relax. I'll go for a hike and I'm like, oh man, look at
Yep, exactly. It ruins it for you a little bit.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about noxious weeds. So we are, let's see, by the time this episode comes out, we're mid-August here. It's been a hot year. It's been a dry year. And we just came from some sites. What are some of the weeds that you're seeing right now in August? And what are some of the problems that you're seeing out there on the job?
Yeah, so right now we're seeing a lot of weeds. Most of the weeds are nearing the end of their life cycle right now. There are a lot of them that are already to seed. They've already flowered, so they're seeding. They're dropping their seeds. Some of them are starting to turn, a brownish color. Some of them turn blackish. We've seen the dyer's woad is already black. It's normally a beautiful yellow.
Yeah, yes, that yellow everybody freaks out about.
Yep. So, yeah, the dyer's woad now is black.
Okay. So are you not worried about it then when you see it?
Well, at this point, when we're spraying it, there's not much you can do for it when you're spraying.
Because it's already seeded?
Yeah,
okay,
we'd have to look more for a mechanical removal on those ones.
Okay.
So, that'd be either cutting them down and bagging them, or somehow figuring out a way to get the seeds out of there. Whether that be, taking the tops off, dyer's woad, you can kind of grab it and slide the seeds off and bag them, which works well.
Okay.
But at this point, unless you've got some kind of pre-emergent, you're kind of too late in the game.
Yeah, you've missed the window.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're seeing those kind of already doing their thing and blackening out.
Yeah.
And you're not worried about those, the mature ones anyway.
Exactly.
What else are you seeing out there?
We still are seeing, some small ones. We're seeing, of course, the Canada thistle. Okay. They'll keep growing, probably the next month or so. A lot of them are still little. You can get them, those are actually really susceptible to spraying at this time.
Okay.
So, seeing a lot of those. We're seeing a lot of musk and Scotch thistle.
Okay.
Those ones are really noticeable because they're tall. They're, some of them can get up to, 10 feet tall. So you can see them driving by on the roads. You can see them all over the place. And people are really noticing them right now.
So on the thistle, what stages are you seeing them in? Because you said some are 10 feet tall. Are you seeing them all in that stage, or is it vary, or what do you?
Yeah, so most of what I've seen is the Scotch and the musk thistles, which are the little bit taller ones. Those ones are ready to, those ones are dropping their seeds right now.
Okay.
Some of the smaller ones, like I said, the Canada thistle, they're not quite there yet. Some of them are. Like if they started, growing at the beginning of the year, they're dropping their seeds. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Okay, cool. And same thing there. If it's already a 10 foot tall plant of the Scotch or the musk thistle, you kind of missed your window for spraying.
Yeah, you kind of on spraying, you kind of missed your window. Right now, you'd probably be looking more of a mechanical removal
and getting those heads out of there.
Getting the heads out of there, and a lot of people actually they don't like seeing the big dead plants in their yard. So a lot of people like to cut them down too, or figure out some way to mulch them just to get them out of there.
Okay, cool. All right, so you've seen some thistles. What else you seen? Anything else that they should be looking for?
Yeah, there's actually right now is a really good time to look for the Knapweed. Because the Knapweed, it's tall and it's blossoming right now, so it's got those those little tiny purple flowers on them, and Knapweed's one of those weeds that you look at it when it's a rosette and it looks really generic. It's really hard to identify.
Yeah.
But now that it's a little bit taller and you can see it well, it's a good time to get it.
Okay, cool. So Knapweed. I don't know if I've talked about that one on the show yet. So let's put a picture or some type of link down below to help anyone who's worried about identifying knapweed. Now, with knapweed, there are different types of knapweed. Mm-hmm. There's like a Russian knapweed, a spotted, but I think they all do have a lot of similarities in the head and the veins and things like that.
Yeah, they do.
But like you said, you got to get them now. Like some of them are starting to pop. But I think you're right. It is hard to identify when they're young.
Yeah.
It looks like a native plant. Like it's actually kind of cool looking.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Okay, so knapweed. What else? Anything else? We saw one today that I'd never talked about on the show.
Oh, the Blugloss.
The Blugloss. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
one.
so the Blugloss is a little bit different weed. It's kind of got these purple and blue flowers. We'll definitely get a picture up for them.
Yeah, we'll do that.
The most common one we have here in our little section of the woods is called a Viper's Blugloss. And the telltale sign of that one is the on the stem. It's got these little prickly things, and it's got these deep, dark black spots on it. So that's kind of like the distinct giveaway on what it is. Yeah, exactly.
And today we actually found one because I'm actually not as familiar with it because, like I said, hunters out there all the time doing it. And we found one in the same family. It was a common instead of a viper Blugloss. So you can have you can be in the same family, the same weed, but have different variations.
Yeah.
So make sure you're looking for that. This one, it looked like the heads were very similar to what you're describing, the viper.
Yeah.
But this one was more like bushy. Like it looked like honestly, you would think it was a nice local native flower.
Yeah, you'd think so. It kind of looks like the rest of them.
Okay.
So yeah, sometimes it's a little tricky to figure those ones out, but.
Cool. Okay, cool. So there's some new ones. So some knapweed, some Blugloss. Do you have what's your most hated weed? Is there one that you just like, you show up to a job site and you're like, oh man, I hate this stuff?
Yeah, so I've got two of them, and they're for the similar reason.
Okay, which ones?
The two most ones I hate to see are the Dyer's Woad and the Dalmatian Toadflax.
Which we're seeing some of that out right now.
We're definitely seeing a lot of it, and it's flowering right now.
What do you hate about them?
So the big issue that we have with them is they have this waxy coating on them. It's really, really waxy. So whenever you try and spray them, whenever you're trying to get rid of them, it just slips off. It doesn't soak in very well. So there's some things you can do for this. You can do either a surfactant or something, some kind of sticker to make it stick onto that wax. The big issue is you spray them and it all runs down, and you don't want too much excess going into the soil.
Absolutely.
So that's just something you got to be conscious about.
So with like the Dalmatian Toadflax or even Dyer's Woad, is it more inconsistent? Like let's say you show up to a 1 acre parcel that hasn't been developed, and it's let's say it's a thistle, it's a Scotch thistle, and you're like, you take care of it, and you leave feeling good, like I know I got these.
Yeah.
With the toad flax or with these waxy coatings, Dyer's Woe, do you always have that feeling, or do you walk away sometimes going, I hope, but is it a little less consistent?
Yeah, I think you described that well. So a lot of times you're like, is it gonna rain a little bit? Is all my work gonna be washed away? Whereas, as you said, in the thistles, you spray the thistles and you're pretty confident they're gonna die.
Gotcha.
So yeah, those are just kind of inconsistent weeds with you always wonder how well it's gonna work.
Hunter does a lot of commercial, a lot of HOA work, but also a lot of like individual residence homes. And they may have, a house with some nice lawn, but then maybe an acre pasture or something where these plants would grow. Do you run into issues with the homeowners at all as you're out during the season?
Yeah, so sometimes it's just just a little bit of lack of information, a little bit of know-how. Um, a lot of what I see, what I run into is one, they're not sure what a noxious weed is. They kind of see this ugly looking plant and they say, "Oh, that's a noxious weed."
Gotcha.
When it's really not. It's just some kind of native plant living there. So sometimes that just kind of takes some explaining. Sometimes they insist on spraying it.
Yeah.
It's kind of every situation's a little bit different. Another one is where to look for these weeds. So a lot of this is they want you to walk through these huge native areas that have never been touched, never been worked on, and they think, oh, there's definitely noxious weeds in there because it's a foresty area.
Yeah.
So you end up walking through this huge foresty area, and there's not a single weed in there. So a lot of these weeds really gain on dirt being moved around.
Yeah, disturbing.
Disturbing, yeah.
Building, roads, all that.
Exactly. Wherever there's, I'm in a tractor driven or wherever someone's brought a car in, wherever that earth can be picked up, that's where you're going to, not always, but
That's where they're going to be.
that's where you're going to find a lot of them.
What's something useful to a homeowner who might be listening and either not sure if they have noxious weeds or maybe they know they have them? What's just a piece of advice you would give them?
Okay. If I had to give one piece of advice to, any homeowner, I'd say just research it a little bit.
Okay.
Just kind of look up, different areas have different weeds. I'd say just do a little bit of research yourself. Just kind of look at what plants are coming in, and maybe if there's a local expert or a local company, maybe ask them, what kind of weeds do we have in this area, or what kind of things are you guys taking care of in these areas? Most of them will be more than happy to, give some friendly advice. But you can always just go online. Most counties, most states have lists of what weeds that are considered noxious in that area. So just kind of look it up, kind of check out your area, and see if you have any of those.
Awesome. And I love that. I think that's a great point because IDing something it has to be the first step in any type of control plan. And I do actually teach that because so often I see people grabbing a product that just doesn't need to go down and spraying something that doesn't need to be sprayed. It's easy to look at this plant and think, oh, it's noxious, spray it, and then come to find out it wasn't, and it actually was doing good things for your soil.
Yeah.
So I love that. Yeah, I agree. I think identifying it first, making sure you have it. I don't think you need to just call up a company and say, hey, come take care of my lot, not even knowing you have noxious weeds.
Yeah.
Because A, it could be a waste of money for you, and B, they may put product on something that doesn't need to be done. So
Yeah.
identify it, and then I think also I want to add a tip is making sure the company that you are working with or looking to hire, make sure they understand the weeds. Make sure they can identify them.
Exactly.
There was a job in a neighborhood about 3 years ago, and they got a bunch of kids, they got them licensed, and they walked these roadsides. I won't say which neighborhood, and they put like 2 or 3 guys side by side, 15 feet out, and they just sprayed everything. And I remember it was actually devastating. They killed some incredible native plants. They were killing trees, and it's like, guys, if you knew what your weeds were, you would have not caused all these issues.
And that actually, that causes a larger issue because a lot of those plants that are there, they're native plants. They're supposed to be there.
Sure.
So when you kill off everything, that actually, that's just like the open soil. That invites other plants to come in.
Because there's nothing there.
Yeah, and most of the time, the most aggressive weeds are those noxious weeds. They'll come in the fastest. They'll start sprouting up. I remember this other one. We're working on a property. It was a property manager talking to us, and the previous property manager, they fired him because they said he wasn't doing a good job.
Okay.
And then he had all these beautiful wildflowers all around the house.
Oh, nice.
And he just said, "This looks too wild. Just go ahead and kill everything."
What? Why?
He was just insistent on it being a little bit cleaner, not knowing that those were all good native plants
with benefits.
Well, yeah,
to the soil and the environment, because some of these colorful wildflowers are pollinators.
Yeah.
So come on, guys, learn your stuff. Know what you're dealing with. If you think you have noxious weeds, like Hunter said, Google it or call a local company and then make sure that you do before you get involved and have a whole treatment program set up.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, let me ask you this: how often? Because I know this is kind of a back and forth debate. How many treatments a year does a property need? Let's say here in Park City for noxious weed, or is it just? What are some of the factors in building a good program that works and it doesn't include a lot of runoff and pollution?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on what weeds are there, and kind of how, I wouldn't say how mature they are, but how dense it is.
Okay.
So some properties, you go to, you want to spray it, and then you want to get back there so you can, if there was any that might have been missed, or some of them that didn't quite get enough product on them, that you can quickly take care of those. Sometimes we've done 4 treatments, over the season, which is a few months. Sometimes, properties take a little bit more than that. If it's, a really wet area, or if it's a plant that's growing, a plant that's growing a little bit quicker than the rest, those might need some more frequent treatments, maybe more visits.
Would you say, is it more important to worry about a number of treatments, or is it more important like a timing thing? Like, because I know some people might get, like in lawn care, everybody wants 6 treatments.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, guys, I would be more focused on your own lawn, the nutrients it needs, than the set treatments.
Yeah, so that actually brings up a great point. If you do it earlier in the season, then you're not going to have, these huge 10-foot beasts that you need to take care of. If you can get them, early in the season, and where it's only going to use a little bit of product, that's a lot safer, and that's a lot better method of taking care of them.
Sure.
So I think you could actually even cut down on your visits if you were able to get those early on.
Gotcha. So earlier, maybe a little closer together. I mean, timing's got to be a huge factor in what you're doing because, this year, we did a big project, and tell a little bit about the Dyer's Woad and the Thistle and how the timing worked in favor on a little bit, and we lost on the other.
Yeah. So the project we were working on, just this large open area. We got there, they got there once the Dyer's Woad started popping up, when people started seeing them. And then, we go out, we spray them, but then we were a little bit late on getting there for the Thistle.
Gotcha.
It was good for the Dyer's Woad, but, the spacing was a little bit off.
Yeah.
I think it was spaced out maybe 6 or 8 weeks. If we would have came back just a little bit sooner, maybe even 2 weeks after we sprayed the first time, we would have been able to pick up on a lot of that thistle, and it wouldn't have been able to mature as much.
Absolutely, and I agree. I think sometimes people get just stuck on this number of treatments, but really they got to look at the timing with noxious weeds.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long have you been doing this?
I think I'm on my 4th year doing this.
4th year. What are some of the good and the bad? Tell us just briefly a little bit of the up and the downs of doing noxious weed treatments.
After you've put in the time to take care of these areas, after you've gotten rid of them, it's really satisfying to go to a slot that you've been treating for a little while and see that the work that you put in, you get this beautiful field, you got this beautiful area without any noxious weeds in it.
Yeah.
Some of the hardest parts, or the most frustrating parts, is sometimes you get some clients that are like, maybe I only want maybe 1 treatment or 2 treatments a year. So you get there, it's a disaster. You spray the best you can, and then you just know next time you're going to come, it's not going to be soon enough. So you get there, and it's just a disaster every time. Sometimes it's just a little frustrating with it.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think ultimately where I'm kind of learning is you really got to be on some type of a program, and a good program, not just 4 visits because it's 4 visits because the company's making money, but visits that are timed out, weed cycle specific, great timing, and just catch them, like you're saying, catch them when they're young.
A lot of people, like say, oh yeah, you need treatments every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They're looking, they're looking to make money, but it's sometimes if you put in those 2 little treatments, you can really space out the rest of them.
Right, and you can save money in the big picture.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think where we're getting to is we need to find people. We don't need to. We have them. We like to work with people who we build trust.
Yeah.
They trust that we're not going to take advantage of them, and if we can get it done quickly and get them and adjust the bill, we will. But also, they trust us with the flexibility to be able to call the shots. So if a year like this year, things come early, we just need that flexibility to go out when we have to go out.
Exactly,
Instead of being stuck in a box. Awesome. All right, man, last question. Do you have a favorite noxious weed? You told us the ones you don't like, the toad flax, the woad. Is there one that you like?
Let me think.
Could be the way it looks, or just, I don't know, maybe you pull up to a job, oh, there it is, I love that one.
So my favorite noxious weed, I've never been asked this one.
Yeah, there might not be an answer. So
I'm gonna have to do the Phragmites, because we were able to make this was something we did. We were mechanically removing a couple of these.
Yeah.
And we actually, brought them back, and we made a little skirt out of them.
Yeah, they did.
And we're definitely going to see if we can get that picture posted on the below.
Okay. Cecil, put that picture below. They did. They made we'll call it a Polynesian, how about a ritual outfit? Anyway, they made a skirt for me, and I put it on to celebrate my Polynesian heritage.
Yeah.
Out of noxious weeds.
Yeah. At that moment, I knew that those Phragmites had to be my favorite. Just watching you put that skirt on.
So let's put a picture on. We got to. On that, we were in a debate. So let me ask you if you figured it out, because I have been struggling to figure out how to pronounce it. We've been working, and we know how to take care of these weeds. We call them Phragmites. We call them Phragmites. Phragmites. Did you get it?
Well, here's the thing. If you read it how it's spelled, it says Phragmites.
Okay.
We plugged it into Google and clicked read. It said Phragmites. And I've heard it pronounced from a few experts calling it Phragmites.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're going to go with.
Okay. So we know how to take care of it. We're great with the plant, but we just don't know how to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a common household word. So don't hold us accountable if we teach you the wrong way to say it. So anyway, cool. Well, thanks to my guest Hunter for coming and taking some time out. I hope this was helpful. We're going to try to put some links below to some pictures, and especially the one with the skirt, me and the skirt.
Definitely have to get that one in.
Yeah, and cool. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hunter, thanks for helping me out.
No, it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode of Eco Lawn Science. Have a good one.